Welcome one, welcome all. I have not recovered from conference weekend. I don't know about everybody else. I'm still like on Sunday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But here we are recording a show that we call Athletics LLC, and we're in it for the fun. And this one's going to be a fun one. There's a lot of discussion to be had. So let's say hello and get this bad boy started. So the governor, looks like you're doing some work back there. Looks like you're pushing some weight. We're disrupting your workout, sir. Sorry.
I'm raising the roof. Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember raising the roof? That was actually a thing. Yeah,
yes, it was.
We used to celebrate like that back in the day.
Way back in our days.
Come on, raise a roof with me. Come on.
Woo,
Come on.
woo.
There we
Right?
go. There you go.
And you had to step to it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Oh, my back hurts now.
Good
Stop
to
it.
be here.
Go ahead. Lamarzapan. I need the help with that, please, sir.
It just sounded good. I do like marzipan. I do like marzipan. So it just kind of like slid off the tongue tonight. You know, tonight we will be Lamarzipan.
It sounds like
Sometimes
a medication.
Exactly. Like I need to take 2 teaspoons of Lamarzipan and I'll be fine tomorrow.
We'll cause bloody poops. Don't take it.
You know, right?
Next week it will be Lamargemite.
You know, right?
Oh my goodness. Anyways, so Lucius, hello, sir.
Hello. How are you? I am well. I am like you. I am not quite recovered from the shenanigans that were the conference weekend, but and I'm sure I'll be recovered on Sunday, which will be just in time to get on a plane on Monday and head to the NCAA first round or regional or whatever we're calling it these days.
Exactly.
Right?
I know. Before I get to Clyde, I apologize. Is anybody else getting on a plane to go to JUCO Nationals?
What?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. That's so fun.
Big league, please, like catch your breath.
I know.
Like,
I'm trying.
Hey, just like this. This one time. Pace yourself.
That'll be for the airplane ride.
Hey, if it makes y'all feel any better, I'm going to Austria next week.
Oh, fun.
What are you doing in Austria, sir?
There's this small combined event competition in Gutzes, Austria.
By small, not small at all.
yeah. There may be some world ranked people there.
A magical place, I've heard. Some sort of like, you want to get some super crazy marks, you go to Gutzes.
There's a rumor that things happen there.
Yes.
So if you want us to feel sorry for you because you're going to Gutzes,
I know, right?
To coach one person and hang out in one of the best places, nah, we're good.
To hang out, that's what it is.
So Big Lee, can you ask Clyde how he's doing?
I know. Clyde, how are you, sir?
Zapan is on something tonight.
We are off the rails, obviously, already. The reason that Chu cannot recover is because she spent 5 days at super altitude and windy.
Oh gosh.
You know, it takes a toll.
Oh man.
On your body. It's easy to run in though.
Oh,
so it's dope.
Oh my gosh.
And as far as Mr. Gotsis over there, yeah,
All right.
No pity for that dude, right?
You know what? I'll bring you guys back some chocolate from Zurich.
Anyways.
Yeah, petty.
So, as Clyde alluded to, Big 12s were in Lubbock. SEC was it Oxford? Is that how you say? That's what it is, right? Oxford.
Yes, ma'am. The ACC was in Duke University.
Mm-hmm.
Durham.
Conference USA was
in. The Big Ten was in Minneapolis. Yeah. Yeah, and then the Pac-12 was at the Cathedral. I'll just say
Oregon.
so Clyde doesn't have to. So,
So I'm not even
We
kidding.
hosted the Conference USA meet. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We were leading by
Excellent.
one on the women's side, going into the 4x4. Needed to win the 4x4, lost. The Charlotte won. We got third. They won by 3. That was like first taste of like
gut wrenching, right? Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like a slow killer like the 4x4 because
At least it wasn't
first
that.
lap happens
Yes.
and you're
It's
just
like you never knew your
oh,
heart could go
no.
up and down so much in a 3.5 minute span, right?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Oh.
it
man.
can either or it can go
Yeah.
this, can I find the exit like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's, I mean, I think it obviously was an incredible weekend, and I mean, I think let's start with the ladies first, I guess. No,
Sure.
and I think that for me, let's start at the top with the big showdown, right? Favor versus Abby, and Favor took the showdown 3-0. She won the 100, she won the 200, and LSU won the 4x1. You know, so you know it was, and to give Favor credit, I mean, they have done a phenomenal job in crafting her race model, especially in the 100. I mean, she looks really good. She's just not running fast. She looks good doing it, and it's going to be fun to watch. You know, I think we should hope that they don't end up in the same heat in any time next week at the first round meet, and that we save those shenanigans.
It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it shouldn't, unless one of them decides to go out and play around the first round, right?
Right.
Mhm.
But let's hope it doesn't happen so we can save those fireworks for the big show in the Cathedral, because you know, 3 absolutely phenomenal races. You know, so those are very good. And then go ahead, Clyde.
I would agree. I thought in the 1 and the 2, Favor looked better running the races. Abby looked a little pressed. But you know, my attitude about that whole showdown is I've been in that conference. I'm an alumni of that conference. I know everybody gets it up for that. But seeing as how the record didn't fall again, I just kind of see it as a, you know, early round battle. I think ultimately what goes on in Oregon is going to be the, you know, the deal breaker, and whoever wins it in the 200 there, whether it's Favor, and it absolutely could be, or whether it's Abby, I don't think anybody one way or another is going to remember the SEC meet once that thing goes down. But it was a great race to watch, and Favor definitely looked better in both races.
Yeah, I think like being there live and watching it, the biggest thing that I noticed was Favor's starts gotten much better. And I don't know whether and it's not that Abby's gotten worse, but she just doesn't look as sharp from 0 to 30 as she has, you know, before. And I think that's also what ultimately cost her in the 200 as well. So,
well, you have to wonder, after that unreal finish she had at LSU at that race, you know, with someone like Favor that has just as much strength as she does, being able to run down Favor of Feely.
See, and then that's the thing, if you really pay close attention, Favor has been on an absolute tear since Abby beat her and ran 1092 or 93, right?
Okay.
Think about it. Like, she's been on a tear ever since that day. And she came to Gainesville the next week and broke the collegiate record. And then, you know, she's done what she's done. So, yeah, I think to say that clearly something happened in that race that struck a chord with her and Dennis, and they've been on a march ever since. But we also, you know, we know Tim Hall, we know Abby. They're not going to take it laying down. So, you know, it'll be a great competition moving forward. It really will be. You know.
So let's switch over to the men.
We got to finish the rest of the women.
I was
like,
gonna say
around the country.
there's a whole lot
Yeah.
of. I was gonna say there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
other women.
Yeah, let's finish the women across the country. Right? Like I said, let's. I'm gonna go next to the Big 12 and the craziness that's going on in the sprint over there. I mean, 1244 and 1245 in the short hurdles. I mean, they were handing out 10-8s like free turkeys at Thanksgiving. It's crazy.
I mean, sub 11 was fourth.
Yeah,
It was.
come on.
So for the record, there is a precedent to this. And if you look at the last time Big 12s were in Lubbock, there were some unreal times that were run there. And there's some athletes that are still chasing those times to this day.
Listen, let's just be honest about it. If you watched the Big 12, it was wildly entertaining. It was a sprint, extravaganza, but it was at altitude and crazy windy. So enjoy it, but 98% of that ain't going to be seen again the rest of the season.
Well, it wasn't
so hold
crazy
on,
windy though.
Hold on. I was actually there, so I could say something. So the sprints were ran against the bleachers. So it was windy on the outside of that, but on the inside, like we literally had races that went from 0.4 to 1.7. So windy, yes. Crazy windy, no. The altitude is they were at altitude, yes, but it's not like New Mexico. Like you can't feel the difference.
It's 3,000 feet.
3,000 feet.
But what I'm saying is like it's considered, but it's like I can walk up the hill and not die. In Albuquerque, I walk up the hill and I die.
Then you are in very good shape, my dear, because it's 3,000 feet. So clearly you're in better shape now than when you were in Albuquerque.
You're being very nice.
Dude, you just said you still having trouble breathing.
I just can't breathe.
Look, all I'm telling you is this: is that 3,000 feet is a lot. That's a lot of altitude. That's a lot. And I'm not going to discount anything that they did. I'm not going to get into that. We'll this will all play itself out over the next couple of weeks. We're starting in Arkansas and then out in Eugene. But on the women's side, some of the things we saw there, the 1, the 2, the 4, the 4 hurdles, the short hurdles, it was just a phenomenal competition. Like Clyde said, it was wildly entertaining. Every time somebody said, "Oh, they just read this at the Big 12," it just I was like, "Wow," it was phenomenal.
It was crazy to watch. It really was. And for them to pull away the way they did in the 4 and the short hurdle race was mad crazy.
I'll say this because if it's the women, to me, the story of the weekend, and honestly, the female, like the narratives, get built every year, right? And for different reasons, different ways. To me, the best narrative that is out there, the best story that's out there on the women's side of NCAA track and field right now, it's not Abby. It's nothing like that. It's Melissa Jefferson. And the best race I saw this weekend was Melissa Jefferson running 10:88 wind legal at the Sun Belt Conference.
Yes.
I mean, come on,
and at sea level.
Yes.
At sea level in the Sun Belt Conference. What that young lady and her coach are doing is right, Coach Goodman. It's just phenomenal to watch. And of course it's under, it's overshadowed by all the big, the big conferences and the big names, but she wasn't overshadowed indoor nationals. And I'm telling you, I'll take that over anything I saw in Lubbock or the SEC or the Pac-12 this weekend. That performance right there is going to travel.
I'm going to give you Melissa Jefferson, and I'm going to trump you with Britton Wilson.
Yes.
I'm with that. I understand that. Okay. I'm with that.
Okay, because
2 hours.
50:05, 50:05, 53:7, and 48:5. Yeah, in a 2-hour span.
That's insane.
So I think what Miss Jefferson did was phenomenal. But I have no words for what Miss Wilson did. None.
That was crazy.
Absolutely none. So the governor talked about the whole ebbs and flows of the 4x4, right? So going into the 4x4, if Arkansas wins the 4x4 and we're fifth, we tie,
Mhm.
right? So going into the third leg, Arkansas's got this huge lead. Like they like 20 meters or 15 meters on the field. I'm like, well, ain't nobody running Britain down, right? So then Abby and the girl from A&M lose their minds and split 48, 49 low. And then there's 15, 20 meters, but it's Britain. Right? And then she comes off the turn. And I'm like, but she's trying to run down Cherokee. She's trying to run down, Miss Holmes. So it doesn't happen. But man, she went at him, And so that was a, very emotional 3 minutes and 26 seconds of my life.
Oh gosh.
But no, she was absolutely unbelievable. And it was flawless. It was just incredible to watch, man. It really was. It really was. And then, and I don't know any of the particulars from the meet, but Ohio State's women, Big Ten champs,
Yeah.
Navy battle. She actually got beaten 100 by a teammate, I believe. At the Big Ten meeting, and she came back to win the 200. And but shout out to Karen and her staff, and then Amy Deem and her staff. For I don't think there's anybody, probably besides Amy and her staff, that saw them winning the ACC meet. Duke's been on fire. ACC and Duke's been on fire, and they went into their backyard and beat them pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beat them pretty good.
So if you haven't had the chance to watch either video from the 4x4 at SEC, men or women, it's must-see track television. Just understand that somewhere in this season, Texas ran 3:22.94, and they are currently fourth.
Yes.
Britton Wilson splits 48 mid in a losing effort. Okay, so, and if anybody would have said at the beginning of the year that Texas A&M is going to run 3:22.0 and lose,
yeah.
Okay, so here's a better one. Okay, name me one person that predicted Kentucky was going to break the collegiate record. I'll wait. Not one.
Well, I'll say this: I don't even think Lonnie Green would have told you at the beginning of the year that they were going to break the collegiate record.
Well, the crazy question about that is, and again, phenomenal race, and props to Lonnie and Tim and the crew. Do they hold on to it?
I'll take.
Do they hold on to it?
For 1,000?
See, because the problem you have, like, there was big rest at the SEC meet.
Yeah.
There won't be big rest at the national meet. Unless somebody decides to line up, try to get after it at the, which Pat's been known to do. Remember Curley broke the collegiate record at the regional meet. So Pat wakes up and decides they're going to get the collegiate record. Fortunately, them and Arkansas won't be in the same heat, so they'll be okay. Man. Because I think them, Arkansas, and Texas are the top three schools in the West, aren't they? Yeah. Right.
So we're going into the national. We're moving into the prelim. Have we ever had a situation where there were 4 women sub 10.9 going into the prelims?
No.
Have we ever seen anything like that?
You haven't seen that going into the finals?
No.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And see, and the crazy thing is, okay, so then the 4 people are Jefferson, Ophelia, Abby, and the girl from Texas, right?
Yes.
Lara Barnes.
Just those. Lara Barnes.
Oh, there's 5.
So there's 5. There's 5.
5.
Right. Okay. And then if you think about it, they're all totally different race models.
Yeah.
Right. Totally different ways of getting it done. So I think that, when you get to that situation, and I'm not going to say the best starter, but the person that sets the race up best in Eugene is the winner. I mean, you go back, and I remember some of the battles that English Gardner had with some people, and English would just put the race away in the first 30 by executing everybody. You know, like how many times do we watch Shelly Ann do that to people, right? She puts it away by, you know, and you know, we talk about the greatness of Mo Green. Mo ran the best race model from 0 to 40 in the history of man. You know, so I think that's going to be a phenomenal race.
That one.
But this is why I'm so caught up in the Melissa Jefferson storyline, because okay, first of all, you got all these hot times, right? When's the last time that it was west, 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 west at the top? Right? Melissa Jefferson is number 5 on the list. She's in the East, but all the marks above her and the one below her, which is 1091, 2.4, 2.4, 2.8, 2.4, 2.8. She's the only one with the win legal 10.8.
I don't know that matters.
I think it matters a lot.
Okay.
No, the girl from Texas ran a legal 10.8 in the prelim.
On the list. Okay.
That's because she ran fast. She ran faster in the final.
I got
you.
She
ran 10.8 twice.
I got you. At Big 12s.
I'm just
stating
the facts.
At 4,000 feet above sea level.
It's 3,000. Jeez. You got me defending it, and I don't even have a dog in the fight.
Just saying, man.
Yeah, so you know, I think that if you're looking at the numbers, Miss Jefferson, in my opinion, is probably the favorite, right? She's been the most consistent. She's clearly not afraid of anybody, right? And the only I don't know any of them, and she proved this indoors, that can start with her. I mean, Alfred has shown she can start with her, but she didn't start with her when it counted.
Yeah.
You know, so. And Alfred had a little bit more pressure on her, you know, team title things. And Miss Jefferson just walks in there and says, hey, you know, and has anybody noticed that Miss Jefferson's running to what, 2250 something, 2260 at a 200?
Oh, yeah.
Quietly, very quietly doing that.
Yeah.
Like Coach Goodman, that dude's coaching now. He's got a 51-second girl. He's got hurdlers. He's got relays. They are getting it done. They're really getting it done. Yeah, I think the ACC meet was won an illegal 11:05, wasn't it?
I believe that. Yes.
And I'm not pronouncing that name. I'm gonna leave that to the governor.
No, that's Chu's job. That's Chu's job.
Wait, what was it? I remember seeing. I even practiced it, but now I can't remember what it is. Keep going.
No, I think you know. I apologize for not being able to pronounce her name, but I'm pretty sure she was 11-0 and 22 and some change. The ACC meet was better on the women's side than it's been in a while.
It was better than it's been in quite some time. It was actually enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. And then it was a Kimba Nelson sighting.
Oh yeah, she stepped back out there and reclaimed her throne.
Yeah, 1093, I think it was, or 1094.
Yeah.
You're talking about Odeon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's her.
He's gonna stick with
Odie. Not trying that one. Yeah, Odeon. Okay, then that's all I got.
Wait, I have a question for our Lamar Zapan. See if his drugs are working tonight. Pop quiz, sir. How many women in the NCAA right now are sub 13 seconds in the hurdles?
I'm going to say 20.
16.
16.
Still a lot.
Yeah, and let's give props to Miss Armstrong for her 12:46 at the SEC meet.
Yeah.
And I see the other event that they quietly got pretty good this weekend. The women's heptathlon was good across the country.
Yes.
Yeah, the girl from Texas put up 6 bills, right? Girl from Duke put up 59.
Put up 59.
Yeah, I think her teammate put up 58. And I think the Big Ten was won and 57 and some change. And yeah, well, it was a great weekend for the multi-event.
Yeah, and the best multi-eventer in the country was busy running the 400 hurdles and long jumping.
Not combined eventing.
Now,
She was doing multiple eventing. She wasn't combined eventing.
now we would be remiss to miss some of the field events, right?
Yeah.
From the Big 12, Miss Monet Nichols jumped 697.
Yep.
Take the collegiate lead.
Yep.
Win legal.
I just want to say this, and the governor has done this as well. You can long jump further at altitude. There is no question about it. But I will tell you this. If you go to 5 meets at altitude, one of those is going to go well in the long jump.
Yes.
So it went well for her, and that's awesome. But I don't want anybody to think for any second like that 697 is not real. Because trust me, I've seen a bunch of people go to S3EP6, which is almost 7,000 feet, and just they can't jump as far as they jump, like, in Baton Rouge, which is below sea level.
Yeah.
It's just too many moving parts.
And the runways in Baton Rouge are magical.
Yes.
You can jump far in Baton Rouge now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to going to Fayetteville because those runways are nice as well.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Fayetteville's a great place to jump.
It is.
I don't know. Were there any crazy distance performances on the women's side this weekend?
I
They
feel
usually aren't at the conference level.
Yeah,
because that's the
they're
one time
all
the distance
strategic.
coaches like double and triple people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do know. I saw that Miss Tui, is that her name? From the freshman from NC State.
Oh,
Ran 406 in the 1500. I know the SEC meet was 1 at 408.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess there were some creditable performances.
There was the Pac-12 10K was quite interesting. 32:27, 32:28, and 32:30.
What?
Yeah.
Diving at the line in the 10K.
Yeah. Colorado, Oregon, Colorado. They got real ignorant in the 10K.
See, if I'd been out there, I'd be like, it's too late for all this. Too much excitement.
But that's the kind of 10K you want to watch, though, right? That's
No
Hey,
question.
I watched it.
No
It was
question.
cool.
Yeah.
No
so
question.
Lucius, didn't you guys run the 10K at like 11 p.m.? You guys ran one of the distance races really late.
In our conference?
No, Sir Lucius.
No, Sir Lucius.
That would have been Thursday night, and that would have been,
Okay. You know what?
Right?
This deviates from track is back, but this came up. It is about conference. The scheduling across the country for conference meets is very different. Which schedule are we a fan of?
Not
the Big 12.
All right.
What's wrong with the Big 12 schedule, Chew?
I think I actually think I have the best perspective on this because other than the SEC, I've worked in all the other 4 Power 5 conferences. And I will say this, I don't think there's any doubt that the SEC does it best. And look, some people always say, like, they talk trash about the SEC because they do this or that, and they call them cheaters and all that. But at one point in time, I don't know if this is still the slogan. The SEC had the slogan, "It just matters more."
It just means
more.
Still the slogan.
So they have the conference meet, and it ends on Saturday instead of Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it gives them one more day of rest going into the first round of nationals.
Right.
Most of the rest of the conferences are not even thinking like that. So let's just start there. Right? Like, to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. Right? They put together a schedule where the 400 hurdles, 400 double is still daunting. Of course, none of us would really like, hey, I got to train somebody for this, but at least it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They spread out the 200, the 100, the 4x1, and the 4x4 enough so that you're not running the whole meet 2 days in a row. Because that's what happens in most conferences. You run basically the same track meet 2 days in a row.
Yes. Yeah.
So right.
And and so I think the SEC schedule is the best of the group because there are others whose schedules are very similar to the SEC's, but they're one day later. The Big 12, right? Because like here's
the Big 12 isn't similar to ours because they run everything 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And they went to and they went, was it 4 days now, right?
Yeah. So the Mountain
Yeah,
West
so-
has a 4-day schedule,
So do we.
of which the first 2 are all multis except for the 10K.
Yes.
And then we run everything Friday, Saturday.
Now,
Yeah.
you would think that the reason you would do that is because you have a multis heavy conference.
Right, and that's not the truth at all.
No.
And I mean, we started with 9 men and 9 women.
And so I'll say this about the
We
multis.
ended with 8 women and 8 men.
What?
The Pac-12 does a lot of like old school, like we've always done it this way kind of things. But the one thing the Pac-12, because when they were the Pac-10, and hell, even back to when they were the Pac-8, the one thing that they are industry leaders on is having the multi the week before.
Well, that's dead now.
It makes
do it anymore.
That right. And now they killed it. And I'm like, that was actually the one thing that you shouldn't have changed because it actually made a ton of sense.
I don't mind the 4 days, but if I'm going to be there for the 4 days, we got to do some extra stuff on the first 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no need for 4 days. I mean,
There's no need for 4 days.
I mean,
No, there's
we're
not.
about to all experience 4 days, and it's not cute. I mean, it's just another one of those gifts that COVID gave us that we will never forgive Rona for. The 4-day preliminary meet, you know. So, there's no need to have that at the conference level.
Well, I mean,
The conference meet should be 3 damn days, and it should end on Saturday. End of story. That's it.
Agreed.
Yep.
You know.
All right. Well, to the men.
Here we go.
Okay, so I want to start with this.
Go ahead.
I just want to jump in. Surprise run of the year. 13-19 to win the Big Ten in the 110 hurdles.
100%.
Wow.
Surprise run
100%.
of the year.
Wow.
Okay, listen, I am not going to be embarrassed by saying this. I watched that race 3 times before I figured out it was the Big Ten and what school dude went to. Because I was just watching the race and listening to the names, and I was like, I don't know any of these people, but that's fast.
See, and here's the thing, like, this is what I thought watching that race. I've watched Trey Cunningham run 13-10, 13-13, 13-15. I've watched Eric Edwards run 13-24 this year. 3 totally different looking races that all end up in the same area code, right? Like, you know, so just, you know, further proof that you got 3 different body types, 3 different, and it's going to be interesting when, you know, they're all in the East prelim. Then again, none of them should hook up because if they do their jobs in their first round. But another race when you throw in, you know, a couple of guys from the West Coast, that'll get interesting. It'll get very interesting. You know, another interesting result I thought was, you know, Makai.
Yes.
Makai Williams, 20:05.
Makai Harris.
No. He's talking about the Oregon kid.
Oh,
Decided to
Micah
run with Duke.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Micah Williams.
Micah, yeah.
And then the 1972.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Micaiah, right?
Yeah. Very entertaining.
I
was
just
the win
want
on that one?
I want 3 point something.
3.8.
0.8.
But what's funny is I still took the opportunity to jab our buddy Coach DA just a little bit because I was like, damn, Robert did run through the line, so he still hasn't run under 20 seconds.
20-0-0.
20-0-0.
Yeah.
You don't even want to know what the conversations were like.
Oh boy.
Oh.
And the crazy thing about that, I mean, like, look, we know it's altitude. We know it's, the hurricane behind them, but like 2020 something was 7th, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
That's another result.
Like-
I looked at. I think I took a screenshot and put it in our group chat, and I was like, I don't care what the win was. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Was.
And I think you talk about, 44-4 in that meet.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been the best race in the meet, right?
Mhm.
As far
You
as
got to go all
quality
the way
goes,
around,
by
so ain't no
far.
win dated there.
Right. 38-50
And
by the Horned Frogs, right?
But by the frog, go frogs.
Yeah. Well, then the crazy thing is, of course, our buddy Lamont Johnson puts it out at 38:05, right?
Well, so that it wasn't his fault. It was ESPN because it came up on the big screen while we were in the warm up field, and I was like, oh. And then one of our pop off was like, Coach, we ran 38:05. I said, close your eyes. Just close your eyes. No, it's not going that way.
That's funny.
And
Whether it's
to
Lamont's
kinda-
fault or not, we're blaming him. So anyway.
Yes, for sure. It's Lamont's fault.
And yeah, I wanna give a shout out to Coach Brian Johnson over at New Orleans.
Yes.
Great job.
994.
994. Ishmael
Nope.
Coney.
Yeah, it was windy, but still, that's
Yes.
994.
994. Any way you
Yeah.
slice it.
See, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Chris Bucknam and Arkansas Razorbacks, right? Going into Saturday, there probably wasn't anybody in that stadium in Oxford that thought they were going to win the meet except for them, right? Alabama's got things rolling, and Alabama starts to make mistakes. They have a quarter miler not run well. They run out of the zone in the 4x1, and some other things happen, and all of a sudden it comes down to the 5K, right?
Wow.
And that's the last team in the world you want hanging around
Yes.
at a track meet going into the 5K is the Arkansas Razorbacks. Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know.
They ran. Look, what I thought was awesome is if you watch the meet. This is why we love John Anderson, right? Because he picks up on things that because we're all like track nuance crazy people. He picks up on those things and shares those things with the rest of the world because they didn't see it. Arkansas ran 9 people in that race.
Mhm.
And they all had a job.
Exactly.
And he interviewed them and asked them, well, what was your role? What was your role? And I was like, see, that's why John Anderson is brilliant. Because first of all, the average person doesn't even realize they had 9 people in the race. But if they do, they probably think, oh, they just ran everybody and somebody's going to run good. Like, no, there was a plan here.
There were pacers. So
multiple rabbits.
So you're in the football building where the warm-up area was, right? And all of a sudden, like, you just see all these folks from Arkansas just come together. I have no idea what Coach Bucknam said to them, but when they shouted out "Go Hogs," the freaking building shook. Right? I'm like, oh, meet over. And they go out, they go 1, 2, 3, and meet over. Yeah. It's just with that, and they know how to win. And
yes.
Like I said, that the last team you want hanging around at the conference meet going into the 5K is Arkansas. You're going to beat them. Better put them away before the 5K because they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. So that was a great performance on their part. And I want to give a shout out to Lonnie Green and Tim Hall. I mean, 3:21 and 2:59 in the same track meet.
Crazy.
Yeah, Clyde, you're still muted, buddy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Going into the race, someone asked me how fast were we planning to run. I'm like, we're gonna run fast enough to win. I didn't know it's gonna take 2:59 to do it. Right? So, my guys were like, Coach, they wouldn't let us slow down. I'm like, I saw. So
I mean, the best part is like, your quartet, the 258 crew, right? They're sort of famous at this point. I mean, I'm not sure, other than you, because you were there and see them all the time, I'm not sure that anybody else in this panel could name all 4 people on Kentucky's 4x4. And we're huge fans of the group.
That's not a challenge you were expecting us to accept, was it?
I know. I was like,
See, because I'm not sure I can name all 4 of them.
I
know-
know two. That's it. I know two.
The Trinidadian led off, St. Hilaire. Lance Lang was second, and the Purdue transfer was Anchor.
Brian Faust is
Kennedy Leitner, I think, was third.
Yeah.
Leitner, was third, yeah.
So, like, these are not household names, and they ran 259.
259.93.
For people who are fans of our show, let me help you with the relevance of 259. Baylor has been for a very long time quarter miler U. They have put 9 million scholarships into the quarter, and they do nothing else but run the 4x4 historically. And their school record is 3 minutes flat. To just let that wash over you.
The look on Sir Lucius's face.
That was super petty, sir.
Well,
It's not super petty. It's pertinent. No, it wasn't even a shot at Baylor. The point is,
Then who was it a shot at?
No.
It was meant to be a prop to the dudes at Kentucky. That's my point.
Clyde
It's like
Okay.
that's
Yes, Clyde,
really
you should
wasn't
be
meant
proud
to
of
be.
yourself. You have rubbed off on the DEP.
listen.
Well, listen.
I'm gonna say this now to the folks at Waco. That was not a shot at anybody at Baylor. All I'm saying is, look,
You're gonna be a meme next week. You're gonna be a meme.
fine. Look,
Wait a minute.
You're gonna be a meme.
I'm gonna pull it up and show Mike.
No. I like this.
Go
I
ahead.
like this. Governor, as the longest standing Texan on the panel, since he put it out there, I'm just going to interject. I'm going to interject a new question for the room that I'd like you to tackle first. It is no doubt that at one point, Baylor was quarter mile U.
Yes.
There is a very large debate in Texas as to whether or not that actually belongs to Texas A&M currently. And I feel like Gainesville might take issue with that. So who is quarter mile U?
Eddie personified.
oh, this is spectacular.
This is your fault.
I mean, if you look at recent history, Texas A&M certainly has been, in the state of Texas, the most dominant 4x4 men and women's teams. It is what it is. Go check the records. We should not. I would be remiss if I don't mention what Texas is doing on both sides right now. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a shift that's happening on both sides. And
Kentucky ran 259 with 4 dudes whose names that nobody can actually remember all the time.
I only know about Lance Lang. That's the only one I know.
I know.
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay, you can, but can anybody else on the panel name all 4 of my guys?
Ooh.
Oh, this is again. Every time Sir Lucius has a game, I can't play.
Exactly.
I'm not even.
You spent a week here. You better know their names.
I knew their names before they ever ran 258.
Exactly.
I'm not going front. I can't name the white boy.
I think that's the key to running under 3 minutes. You got to have one white guy.
Well, Baylor definitely had that.
Oh man,
Baylor had that.
So did Kentucky. So does Florida. Can y'all really not name these 4 dudes? Is this a serious? Are we serious right now?
I forgot the white dudes.
Oh my god.
Isn't his last name Miller, or did I make that up?
It's Miley.
Miley. Close.
I'm not gonna forget it again.
Patterson, Willie, Miley, Allison.
Yeah.
I won't.
You
I
know
won't
their first
forget it
names?
again. Now that I know it's Miley, I won't
he
forget
went. He went to the internet. That's how he.
Yes, he did. Can any of you name their four first names?
He sticks his chest out like he knew that all along.
Oh, gosh. Ja'Cory, Ryan, Jacob, and Champion.
Yes. You can read. Good
Wow.
job, Governor. Oh my God.
I'm bad with names, but I can remember Miley now because I'm just gonna think Cyrus.
No, my God.
You gotta have a way to remember, right?
I call him. Look, you've heard me call him this. I call him Miley Cyrus all the time.
Okay.
He's got two nicknames. He's calling Miley Cyrus for obvious reasons, and then also I call him Big Jake because my dad's name was Jacob.
Oh,
So and we call my dad Big Jake. So yeah.
so got a question. Speaking of what is the strategy with Mr. Patterson, Sir Lucius, going forward? What are you doing with
Look
Mr.
at his
Patterson?
face.
I have no idea.
He's
what
inspired by the Arkansas
I mean,
group.
wait a
So
minute.
he's gonna run them in the 1, 2, and the 4.
I'm just curious.
He doesn't
He's
have to
gonna run-
answer that question. All you have to do is
All
look
you
at
gotta
the
do is look at the
declaration.
T-shirt list.
I was gonna say, look at the S's
He is
and
going
A's.
to run. He's going to run the 400 and the 4x4. That's what
Okay.
he's going to run.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was, it's just
Okay.
calculated decision. I think his workouts say there's something special coming in the 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to go there instead of the 2. I think he could do something special in both,
Okay.
but I think that the 400 may be an easier task, if you know what I mean.
Got it.
The 200's gotten a little, as our man Lonnie Green would say, the 200 is kind of sexy right now. So we're gonna leave that alone.
Street.
Was
Yeah.
that? Wait a minute. Was that the first? Was that the first time outdoor that Big Joe took an L
No. This year?
to bowling?
No. Bowling beat him last year at conference.
Okay, gotcha.
No. Take that back. Joe might have nipped him at the line at conference last year.
I felt like he ran.
Yeah,
him down
because
last year.
because Laird won it, and I think Joe was 03 and Matthew was 05 last year. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yes, that is Matthew's first time beating Big Joe outdoors. So I think we got to circle back up to the Big Ten. Props to Karen Dennis and her crew for sweeping that meet.
Yes.
I think the Eric Harrison ran well in that meet. He was 10-0 and 20 low. Though the 400 wasn't that fast.
Mr. Kaiser. I'm sorry, rewind. Mr. His name's Kaiser, right? The Iowa State 400 meter guy's hurt.
Iowa State's not in the Big Ten.
Iowa.
I know. No, in our Big 12 meet. I literally had Tourette's just now and just spit that out. Sorry.
And I think the guy from Iowa's name is McIver.
McIver, that's what, yes.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
So
what
you're struggling tonight.
I'm telling you, it's this.
Oxygen depth. Oxygen.
I was gonna say it's the altitude. She's still trying to breathe.
Maybe we need to get you a cup. Maybe which we know you don't drink, so you can't.
What just
pillow.
happened?
How about a
Did
pillow?
the governor not get reelected? What just happened?
Yeah. Well, he muted himself and he's off camera, so I don't know.
All right, he'll be back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I think when you go down to the ACC meet, and you, I think Bob Brayman and the Florida State Seminoles showed up, right, and did their thing. And then you go out to the West Coast, and Oregon decided that they were going to be the dominant school out there. They just stumped everybody on both sides of that meet.
Well,
Oregon
you know what?
They've gotten to the point where now it's called the Pac-1.
You know what? Yes.
Wow.
No, listen. If you look at the total scores, Oregon did dominate the meet. Absolutely. When I'm looking at the Pac-12, because I'm a West Coast guy and I'm a fan of the conference, there's a lot of really important things going on out there that people should start to take notice of, I think. For example, when's the last time Cal finished third?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I saw
I'm
that,
so
yeah.
glad that you jumped into that, right? Because obviously I have many dogs in that fight,
Yeah.
both personally and professionally. But what I want people to understand about Cal being third in that conference, they have the worst budget, the worst facility situation, and the most challenges of anybody in that conference. And they're probably, when you include cost of living, they're the worst paid, and their coaches are asked to do the most. And so, like, legitimately, a real life props need to go to that staff for being third in that conference, because I just want people to understand that's a Pac-12 championship for them. Third place, like there's not a world where they can beat Oregon. It's not. I don't know that it's physically possible. And what Mo Satara's throws group is doing out there is, listen, folks.
Look,
Mo's
I'm not
a great
sure. I'm not
coach.
sure who upset that dude, but y'all need to leave that guy alone.
Well,
Look,
the funny thing is, and people forget, if you have a chance to see Mykolas in person, he is a monster of a human being, but he's a baby, he's a freshman. And this dude, you watch international competitions in the throws, right? And you'll see, an implement leave somebody's hand, like, damn, that thing is just traveling. Very rarely at the collegiate level do at least me, do I get that feeling watching people throw things.
Yeah.
Watch the video of his newly set discus record from this weekend in Oregon. 68.73. It just heads towards the steeplechase pit, and you swear for a moment that it might land in the thing.
I mean, I saw
that's in a stadium.
Previous
like
record.
that's not a windy discus mark. You know what I mean? Like, that's in a stadium.
Yeah. I mean, the previous record, I was just blown away by his footwork. I mean, what he does in the ring, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I jokingly tell my throws coach, I'm like, look, I couldn't coach that to save my life, but I know what it's supposed to look like, right? And that's what it's supposed to look like. That's incredible. And it's funny when you talk about the Pac-12, like, clearly Oregon is the best team out there. But I think you can go through every squad in the Pac-12 and find superstars.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a team out there that doesn't have one or two or more superstars on the team. So I don't think that the overall team concept that Oregon has, everybody else has, but that's a quality conference from top to bottom when it comes to individual performances.
Clyde, interestingly that Shea Anderson is not running the 4 hurdles.
Listen, the whole Shea Anderson UCLA from start to finish saga.
I was going to say, Shea Anderson's career at UCLA is interesting.
So whatever it is going to be what's going to be. Like, the girl is crazy talented.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She made 50 point last year. She made the Olympic trials finals. She made the Olympic team by finishing 8th. And
whatever event she gonna run, she gonna be in the final. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
How high,
because
I don't know. She gonna make the final.
And she is going to compete. That's the thing about her. She's not afraid. Look, we watched this last year with UCLA. Like, they got better and better. She showed up. I know she had some problems, but their 4x4, people forget, they were running. They think they finished third. They ran with USC right to the end last year.
Yeah.
So. And while
didn't UCLA's women win the 4x4 at the conference meet?
No. USC at the conference meet. Yes.
The conference meet. Yes, they did. Yeah.
So they won the Pac-12 meet, right?
Yeah, they did. They did. USC ran them down at the dual meet and beat them to the line. And UCLA came back this weekend and won. But okay, just interesting things from the West Coast, from the Pac-12. For years, the 100-meter final is 4 people from Oregon and 5 from USC or whatever, right?
Right.
I'm sorry. Who had the most athletes in this final? It was still Oregon. They had 4, but Cal had 3.
Wow.
Props to
Wow.
Ronnie Harrison.
Wow.
In the final, and Ezinay Abba finished second. Kemba Nelson first. Ezinay beat Solera Barnes 11-13 to 11-21. So Ronnie is doing a hell of a job with that crew. And I can't remember the last time you saw 3 people from Cal, Berkeley, and Hunter.
Yeah. Props to Ronnie.
Big props to Ronnie. Wow. But as I mentioned, I mean, there's a lot of good athletes out there in the Pac-12 that people aren't aware of. I mean, look, you know, the Big 12 and the SEC are going to get the majority of the props, right? Because those 2 conferences kind of went crazy. But the other conferences, the Big 10 has some good, you know, like I said, 13-19 in the hurdles. They had some other good performances up there as well. The ACC, I know Florida State's men sprinted well. The Odeon, did I say it right?
Yes, Odeon.
Odeon. She was on fire in the short sprints. I think Coach Deem had a young lady run 51s and some change. And look, we remember the day when 51 seconds was exciting, you know. But now it's not. You know, so exactly. There's a lot of good performances across the country. I think that, you know, like I said, the Big 12 and the SEC get the majority of the pub, but, you know, even down to the smaller conferences, like, you know, Miss Jefferson continues to show there's people out there. I think that this is going to be one of the most exciting national meets in a long time. And if you want your best ticket, come to the semifinal days. Those will be, because it's going to be a war to make the final.
Yes.
It's going to be a war to make the final.
I mean, and I'll tell you this right now.
Go ahead.
Anybody who tells you they know who's going to win the men's 100 is a flat out liar.
Oh gosh.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Okay.
Oh, now that feels like a challenge. Go ahead and tell me.
Well, that's an off-camera discussion. So
now we're all going to get phone calls as to what that off-camera discussion was.
All right, so wait a minute. And I don't want to forget this one. Another Pac-12 West Coast thing. If you were out west for the Mount Sac relays this year, Jamar Marshall took one of the ugliest falls in the hurdles that I've ever seen. Like out cold, ambulance carted off, the whole 9.
Oh wow!
No, it was scary. It was really, really scary. It was really bad. I haven't seen him compete since then. He came out, ran 13:39 and won the Pac-12. And I'm just happy to see the boy back out there because it was bad. But for him to rebound like that, it just kind of, for me, it speaks to the kind of athlete he is and the way he competes, because as a hurdler, if you fall, we all take a tumble in the hurdles. Certain falls are worse than others, and that's literally one of the worst ones I've seen. For him to get up off of that and come back and compete this way was really, really impressive. So props to him and Dion and the Arizona State crew, because that kid's a monster. And yeah, I'll have to send you the video, man. It was bad.
Yeah, and see, and that again, another event where, you know, you got, you know, the man at 13:10, and you've got 4 or 5 guys between him and 13:30, right?
Yeah.
So the guy who executes is the guy that wins. So it's going to come down to the race. The proper race model and race mechanics are going to win that race. You know, the same thing on the women's side. I mean, geez, you've got so many girls, 16 girls under 13. You know, exactly. Yeah. You know, so it's going to come down to execution in that race as well. So again, if you want the hot ticket, show up for the semifinals. It's going to be hot. It's going to be super hot.
So how did I mean, when you look, you know, from the sprints side of things, how did Houston and North Carolina A&T, what were their showings this weekend? Was there anything?
A&T was solid. I mean, I think they did, you know, they sent them 20 lows and 10 ones. And Randolph Jr. ran 44.70 something, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Their 4x1 was 38 and 60. I think they might have had a girl run 11:0, running 22, and some girls run 51. You know, they were very good. I'm not sure with you. I know I did see that Houston, that Sean, not
Yes, Sean,
attempting,
yes.
not attempting that last name either, but I did.
Maswangani.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
that guy.
Aswangani.
Maswangani, yes.
Maswangani.
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 Yes.
Yeah, Sean. Sean got beaten 100. So by his teammate, I think it's 10:04 to 10:05 or so. So
Yes.
that's right.
you know, they're the Houston crew's rounding into shape, and I mean, look, the Arkansas region is going to be hot,
It is.
right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of hot events there, and that is a super fast facility.
Yeah, it is.
Super fast facility. And if you just took note of when the USA multis, they went out of their way to make sure that meet got run well, and it was. And I expect the same thing from them in that competition. So,
Well, I think both regions will be well run. But if you're a prayer, we're all in the Midwest, so I'm gonna need y'all to figure out whatever it is y'all do, because the whole thing can be ruined at any moment.
It was raining in Indiana today.
Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be?
I mean,
Sorry.
I mean, I talked to three scouts today in the Midwest. They were in 3 different states: Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. All 3 of them were driving home from games that had been canceled.
Wow.
oh wow.
I'm just saying.
I know. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but like, let's just.
And you
be
know
honest,
what?
right?
While
The Midwest in the spring is what it is.
While we're on the subject, we've had debates on this show, and I know I've heard them screamed loud from every corner of the internet about how difficult it is to get to Eugene, Oregon. It's way harder to get to Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's way harder. So, you know, pump your brakes on all of that. This is not.
But okay.
Fun travel.
But young fella, I am not going to disagree that it's hard to get to Fayetteville because I've had to go there. And first world problems, we do charter whenever we can.
Right.
Okay.
Let me just insert that real quick. Let me just throw that in there.
The only difference is that we don't have to go to Fayetteville every single year.
I understand. We should never go there for this. Never. Not because Fayetteville is not an amazing college town, because it is. Not because they don't have amazing facilities, because they got the best. It's the wrong time of the year to go to freaking Fayetteville. Just send me to LA and let me go run in Mount Sac.
I'm so looking forward to next year when we go to Sacramento and into Texas. I mean,
Texas is bad enough, but yes.
Okay, so right now, it's gonna rain every day at some point.
Yep.
But the only day that it really calls for rain, like, is Wednesday. But it's the Midwest. So Monday it's 70, 74 Tuesday, 77 and rain on Wednesday, 77 and it's okay, partly cloudy on Thursday, 81 and 82 on Friday and Saturday. But the Saturday one is kind of creepy because it says 82 and cloudy. That doesn't happen in the Midwest. So I don't know what that forecast is.
Come Monday, it'll say something completely different.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, check the weather in 35 minutes. It'll be completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it says right now. So
Indiana and Arkansas. Oof.
I have not worn rain gear all year.
Yep.
You see this?
But that's going to change.
No.
That
I
is
gotta
going
bring
to
rain.
change, sir.
Wait a minute. You just told me that was an indirect true. Pack your rain gear because I wasn't even going.
Oh, Chu, you're tripping. You're girl.
You
bugging.
better pack your rain
all
gear.
of that.
Oh, I got it. I haven't even done my laundry from conference yet, so I got a while.
So Chu,
Put your life
what's
together.
next?
Okay. well, I'm gonna put this asterisk out there. We know we missed a lot of marks. We didn't even touch the men's field events. We know, well, we lightly touched them. So we know that there's a lot. That's not anything besides us trying to be in a timely manner on the show. So,
well, can I say one thing? One shout out for the field events. I want to apologize because I do not know the gentleman's name. He's the throws coach at Auburn. Auburn's women became the first school women's team in SEC history to win all 3 long throws in the first meet in the same meet.
Wow.
oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Let's see if I can pull that fast. Not
Hammer,
fast.
disc, and jab, huh?
Yep. First school to ever do that.
What's next, Chew?
Oh, wait, hold on. Before we get off track is back, listen, we cannot move forward without mentioning the fact that Grenada now has a 93-meter javelin thrower.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
And
there you go.
And I want to say this to people so they get this. At one point in time, as like little 10, 11, 12-year-old grommets, Anderson, Kurt Felix, and Lyndon Victor used to run around and play together.
Yep.
That's 8,500, 93 meters.
Crazy.
Talk about
I mean,
playground bullies.
like, look, again, I like to put things in perspective for people. Grenada is the size of like 1/8 of Texas, and Grenada's national record in the javelin is 2 meters further than the United States' national record in the javelin.
I have 2 words for you, and that's Paul Phillip.
Paul Phillip.
Mhm.
Paul Phillip. Just
Co-
remember the
Coach
name.
Chu met
Don't
Paul Phillip.
forget the name. Okay.
Yeah,
So just gonna leave it at that.
seriously.
Shout out to Paul Phillip.
Pat Ebel, EBEL, is the who is the throws coach at Auburn.
Okay. He's done a phenomenal job.
So
Yeah.
good stuff.
Well
sure.
done, sir. Well done.
So we are going to allow that track is back section to be the show, the meat of the show. But we will continue with our would you rather section because it was a hit. People liked it. So I just have to remember to keep it PG-ish. So it takes a little bit longer. So Clyde, you're up, sir.
Oh, I still want my answer to what is quarter mile U. I only got a half answer out of the governor.
Oh.
I need the other answer.
And wasn't there supposed to be a question for me? Yeah, I know you're
Yeah.
sleepy, Big League.
I
The
wasn't paying
question,
attention.
There was a
audience
question from the audience.
The question from the audience was, it was directed at Sir Lucius, and it was, Sir Lucius, who do you most enjoy coaching against in the SEC?
Yes.
Oops.
And then you could tell
Good
us.
job, Chew.
Then you can tell us who's quarter mile U.
I'm not telling you who quarter mile U is. That's an opinion-based question when it comes to the quarter mile U deal, and I'm gonna let you have your opinion. And if you think that quarter mile U is in Gainesville, I appreciate that sentiment, sir. I mean, I'll leave it right there. There's a case for that in Gainesville, I'm sure. But the question of who I enjoy competing against the most, I mean, I think it's a broad-based question for me because I tend to dabble in a lot of events. You know, I'll just take this past weekend. The women's hurdles is Dennis Shaver. Men's 4x1 is Dennis Shaver. Women's 400, it's Pat Henry. 4x4, it's a plethora of people. We ran 326 and got our heads beat in, right? I happen to coach young ladies that won the 8 and the 15, and so I'm going to be against the best distance coaches in the conference in that, and so and even in the multi event, because I'm the kind of the guy that constructs that issue. I'm dealing with Steve Thomas at Mississippi State, so I think in our conference, like you can't just pick one person. You can't just pick one team. I mean, obviously, I've dealt with Arkansas forever. Whether it was John McDonald and now Chris Bucknam, and then on the women's side it's Lance Harder, but you got heck, Lonnie and Tim are doing a phenomenal job, and it's just you can't pick one person, you can't pick one team. It just depends on the year, depends on the strength of your teams, because very rarely do you walk into the conference meet with a sure thing. You just don't. That's the two races that Grant Holloway lost in college were both at the conference level out there. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that was very respectful, and we all wouldn't expect anything less. So as the SEC alumni on the board, I'm going to ask you a petty question before I get to choose game. The Gators are well known for having what I feel to be, awesome culture and calls and, songs. What's the most irritating sound that you hear at the SEC?
You're terrible.
No, I'm not. Because we all have one. We all have an opinion of this.
I mean, so clearly, like the thing that I've heard the most is clearly Woo Pig Sooie. I mean, it's like, yeah. And you hear it like, I can't remember the last time we didn't hear it. Well, the last time we didn't hear it was in 2018 when we won both meets. Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah.
Not everybody says it's Pig Sooie, but most people do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's just a testament to who they are and what they do.
All right, you go ahead with your.
Sorry. My apologies on that. Yeah, completely blanked that one. So, all right, sir. Would you rather wear hoop shorts or training shorts?
Training shorts.
Would you rather hear everything or see everything?
Rapid fire.
I'd rather see it.
Got it. Would you rather drink spoiled milk or dirty water?
I feel like dirty water is less dangerous.
I'm definitely drinking dirty water.
Yeah.
Spoiled milk is disgusting.
Oh, I love it. Would you rather sleep on dirt or grass?
I've done both. Grass is better.
Okay. Would you rather coach the same athlete forever or a new athlete every year?
Well, that depends on who the athlete is now.
Doesn't matter. Either the same athlete every year.
Nah,
Forever.
I would change it up.
Every year. Got it. Would you rather be a throws retriever or rake the sand pit?
Oh.
That's a good one.
I thought so.
I'd rather
you either go get your steps in or you gonna get a strong back.
I think I'd rather retrieve the throws because raking sand is irritating.
I'll take raking sand.
Raking the pit, me too.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you rather get pepper juice in your eye or in a cut?
In the cut. I don't like anything messing with my eyes.
Would you rather be in the sun with no cover for 3 hours or in the snow with just a coat for 3 hours?
I don't do snow. I'm a West Coast baby. I don't do snow.
Would you rather be in running shoes with no socks or boots with socks too big?
I don't wear boots. I wear running shoes with no socks. I'm good.
Okay.
Jesus.
You're crazy.
This man is a psychopath.
He is.
All right, gentlemen,
Man
you're
is a psychopath.
I would
God.
like to know what's been your favorite moment or memory from your first year as the head coach at San Jose State.
Oh man. Okay. Well, it's not moments, if you will. The favorite part of my job this year is literally in-office shenanigans with the staff. I compiled an amazing staff, and every day it is hilarious being in this building with these people. So Ernie Clark, TJ Harris, Charmaine Darden have been the best part of my job this year. The the best memories from the job are all connected to those people this year. The best on track moment is actually my heartbeat prop. So I'm gonna pass that for now.
No.
All right, I'm gonna ask a petty question because you're a petty human. What is something that you are 100% sure you can beat everybody else on this panel at?
Well, with, no disrespect to my partner,
I was gonna say I knew that.
any card game, I'm a card player. I don't care if it's spades, Uno, go fish, I'm gonna win.
Okay.
That's
so
interesting.
Okay.
That's very interesting. Very wrong, but very interesting.
I mean, that is. There's
But-
a lot of things I thought you might say. That was definitely not the one I thought you were gonna say. But okay.
I mean, so listen, we could put this to a mini test because 2 of the panelists we all gonna be in Arkansas. So we can get some hearts. We can go anywhere you want to go with the cards. We good.
Okay.
I broke out my cards at conference, and they're like, "Coach, why do you have cards?" And I was like, "The rule." Like, what?
They don't know no better.
Anyways, sorry, Governor. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay, you get to be a head coach at any Power 5 conference. Which conference would you pick?
Oh my God.
That's actually a difficult question.
That's a lie.
There's
It's not a lie. It's not a lie. It's a difficult question. And it's gonna be a half-winded answer. So it's a difference between where do you ultimately want to compete and where do you want to live? That's the issue. That's the issue because,
it wasn't a question about where you want to live. I'm talking about
it is because
Okay.
if I have to put myself in a head coach role in a conference,
yes.
conference exist in certain places,
Right.
and
You don't do snow.
I don't do snow.
Okay.
Big Ten's out.
Okay.
Okay. If I want the most elite competition and I want to be pushed in my capacity as a head coach, you run to the SEC because
This
that's
is
standard.
what does Clyde want?
Right. Clyde wants
Okay.
to enjoy where he lives.
Oh God.
That's why again I said this was.
Where are you going, Clyde? Which conference?
Pac-12.
He ain't going nowhere. Is where he's
You
going.
see how he went all the way to the moon and came back?
No,
Yes.
listen, I'm an SEC alumni, so I respect what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But of the schools there might be 3 places that I'd actually tolerate living.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
West Coast, baby.
Exactly.
That's funny. All right. Well played. Well played. We'll move on to our heartbeat props. And Clyde, why don't you go first since you already started to allude to yours?
No, sure, that's cool. So we did, we had our conference championships this weekend as well. And, mid-major conferences are never going to grab the headlines, but one of my athletes, Miss Gabrielle Spencer, put on an absolutely amazing show this weekend. And knowing where she was, where she came from, and what she's done this year, she had to be my heartbeat props. She scored 17 and a half points by herself this weekend. She got 3rd place in the 100 meters and ran a lifetime best and a school record of 11:58. To put that in context, her PR in the 100 before our arrival here was 11:96. So from 11:09 to 11:05, huge deal. And then she came back and pulled the upset of the meet, winning the 200, upsetting you know, NCAA indoor qualifier, Lauren Gale. Great race, came down to the wire at the line. Gabby's 200-meter PR used to be 24.4. She surpassed that indoors and ran 23.8. And then this weekend she ran win legal 23.19 and is punched her ticket to go to the NCAAs, and we're going to contest the 200. So super proud of that young lady. She's, you know, she's a sophomore from Stockton, California, and has been nothing but a grinder all year. And so I am super proud of her and and her allowing me and Coach Clark to work with her and be open to coaching and learning how to run the 200. So heartbeat props to Miss Gabby Spencer.
We hosted the conference meet for the first time in the history of UTSA. And, you know, leading up, the weeks leading up to it, you know, our facilities folks, you know, you want to project, you know, that air. Yeah, we got this. Yeah, we're good. We hey, you know, we got the numbers. Yeah, we got numbers are here. The decals are here. Everything is, you know. And I think for us as a coaching staff, we were all kind of like, you have no idea what it takes to run a track meet for 4 days. The amount of energy that it takes. And you know, the multis are the teaser. That's just, oh, you know, you run a race, oh, take a break, you know, 30 minutes later, oh, we're gonna jump over to the long jump, oh, we're gonna stop for an hour, and oh, we're gonna throw the javelin. And I have to say, I mean, it turned out to be, you know, a situation where everybody, and I'm talking folks from the administration, we had compliance folks raking pits, we had folks, you know, our academic folks were retrieving javelins. And I mean, it took everybody. It took everybody. And ultimately, you know, when we had our team meeting, you know, Coach Fox stands up and he tells the team that to a man, every coach said this was the best conference meet they'd ever been to. And that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. It tells us that our administration cares. And we had a lot of pride, there was a lot of pride on display. It would have been nice to come out with the win on the women's side, you know, first time ever in the history of our program. It didn't quite happen, but I must say, you know, heartbeat props to our facility staff, to our administration, and everybody that kicked in and helped out, rake a pit, you know, helping me, putting the boards in, all of that stuff. Awesome job, UTSA.
I'm going to go along those same lines. I have been to a plethora of conference championships over my career. But I have never been to a better run conference championships than the ones this
Sir
weekend.
Lucius, that is saying a lot.
Yes.
That is saying a lot. Okay, I'll let you go.
What Connie Price Smith and the University of Mississippi did this weekend, the detail, that anything that you can think of, they thought of it. I think I alluded last week, you know, you walk in the warm-up area, you know, every camp had its own TV. Every camp had this little charger block that you could charge up to like 30 phones or whatever, you know. The meals for the coaches, everything. You know, you walk in and my director of ops got this packet and everything was, you know, categorized. You know, I thought you put it together. That's how organized it was, right? so you know it was organized, right? But the attention to detail, like you said, there were administrators out there, you know, moving hurdles and doing this, and it was just amazing to watch them. They wanted to make sure that the athletes in the Southeastern Conference had a phenomenal championships, and they did. So my heartbeat props go to Connie Price Smith. Her coaches, her staff, and her administrators did a phenomenal job at the meet last week.
I don't want to steal yours, Chu, so I'm a little afraid to go before you.
Oh, go ahead. I don't care.
My heartbeat props go to a 15-year-old young lady who had to deal with something I think every one of us has ever dealt with, which is peer pressure, and made a mistake and has had to wear it and has learned all the lessons that you know we as parents can ever hope they learn, and who I firmly do believe has learned all the lessons, but now faces. This is the difference between this generation and our generation, because her greatest fears are about going back to school after being in trouble and being out of school for a couple of days. Her greatest fears are about what her peer group is going to be like and what they're going to say about her. And my heartbeat props go out to Coach Chu's daughter, Miss Riley Harris, for accepting responsibility for her actions, learning lessons. And honestly, I think being about as tough as she can possibly be chin up and be prepared to go to school. I obviously grown incredibly close to this young lady. And I think if you're smart as a parent, you learn a lot from kids. And the word tough gets thrown around a lot in our world. And it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But maybe it's because I'm older, but I've learned that a lot of times the toughest people exhibit a quiet toughness. There's not a lot of bravado to it. There wasn't a physical, you didn't get hit by somebody and then get back up, right? Like a lot of times the toughest moments are dealing with things internally that people just don't ever see. And fighting battles with yourself and being successful in those battles is where true toughness really is exhibited. And that's usually done in a quiet place. And so for me, I'm super duper proud of that young lady. And I know like how tough this last 5 days has been, how tough this last 5 days has been. And I also know the fear that she went, to bed with, knowing that day 6 is probably going to be the toughest. But when somebody that's young is dealing with something that's that tough and they look at you and they basically say with their eyes, like, this is going to be hard, but I got this. It just makes you feel good. And so for me, my heartbeat props go out to one Miss Riley Marie Harris. For those of you who don't know, that is Coach Chu's daughter.
That's my mini.
That is her mini.
My heartbeat props go out to Mr. Clyde Morgan. He's chasing Richie Bean's title number of conference championships. I'm sorry. There was a break there for Wabash College, but he's resumed normal play and is winning the NCAC at the D3 level, indoor, outdoor, year after year. So big ups to you, sir, for winning another. It's not too much of a surprise at some point, but it's always fun to watch as that comes across the screen that Wabash College has dominated the men's side of the NCAC. So congrats on another one, and it's always fun to watch. So heartbeat props go to you, sir. So, well, gentlemen, we've done it again, another successful show. Only with the 5 of us. So that was true effort there. No help on the screens this week. But to everyone, I hope you're all resting. Can you rest a little for me? But we will see all of, I know, right? No, the answer is no. So great weeks for everyone as we get ready to go to our respective prelim meets. And we'll see each other next week. Till next time, everyone. See ya.